your album "Be Here Instead" came out was last month in April, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I guess the first question is, what was it like releasing it in the environment that it's being released in these days? Because this is your fifth album, so you've done this before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely different this time. Usually leading up to releasing a record, I'll have played the songs on tour a bunch. And then when you release the record, usually tour up to, and then after that for a while. So not having all of that has been kind of weird. I recorded the record in uh, April of 2020 and then mixed it by July and just kind of waited until the next April for it to come out. So
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited to get out and play them. A lot of these songs haven't been played to an audience.
Okay. So you were recording last year, April, May, June. Things
Mhm.
were crazy even back then. It seems like forever now.
Yeah.
So what was that? Did that have an impact on the recording and the songs and all that?
Yeah, it did. I basically wrote most of the stuff up until 2020.
Mhm.
And then I was planning on making the record in early 2020, and we had already basically booked studio time and kind of set things in motion by the time that the pandemic really hit. So
Right.
basically me and the band just didn't see anybody else for a couple months and rehearsed right here actually in this basement. And did like 2 months of rehearsal and then went, and by the time we were going into the studio, we were able to get tested and everybody tested negative. So we were able to like take the masks off in the studio and
Right.
Yeah.
And so my understanding was it was pretty much recorded live in the studio with the band.
Yeah, most of it was most of the vocals are overdubbed and like the most of the strings are overdubbed, but a lot of like the drums, the bass, and at least one guitar track and the keys track are all done live, and then we kind of spruced them up. But
Right.
there are moments where you can tell like, oh, this is a band playing together, which I really
Right.
like.
Yeah. And you have a gentleman by the name of John Agnello, who's your producer. So what did he add to the mix?
He was excitable. and,
All right.
and that kept us excited about it. We the whole time we were rehearsing, we were just recording little iPhone demos and sending them to him, and then he would send us back like, try an extra guitar solo, or this song might need a bridge. So we were doing pre-production over the internet, and then we all met him the day that we started recording in person for the first time. And he was just super excited, and played cheerleader, and everybody already knew the songs and about how everything needed to go. So he was there to like cheer us on and make it sound awesome. And he did it.
Nice. So the songwriting itself, I assume, was all done by that point. So is that the case?
Yeah. By the time we went into the studio, we had, I had written the songs and then rewritten some of the songs and then worked with him with the band and kind of got him to a certain place. And then, we were ready to go by the time we walked in the studio door.
So your songwriting process, what were you kind of going through to get these 12 tunes down and ready to go?
Yeah, it's different from what I've done in the past. A lot of my earlier stuff was more narrative driven, like
Right.
me telling a literal story, and often like somebody else's story, like from their perspective. But these songs started to come to me music first, rather than the lyrics or the concept first. So I would basically just get these like little guitar licks stuck in my head for long enough, and I'm like, well, I guess I got to make that a song. And
Right.
When I would come up with a melody, usually it was just like playing this stuff over and over until a melody popped into my head. And then when the melody popped into my head, as soon as I could, I tried to just think of some lyrics. And then whatever those first lyrics that popped into my head were, I just tried to run with that, whatever it happened to be. And it ended up being really great. Like kind of like I was mining my subconscious a little bit more than like having a predefined intention. So kind of a new way of creating for me, and also in a more technical way. Like I started writing with like the iPad and using GarageBand and like the pre-programmed drum machines and synthesizers. That was a lot of fun too.
So the album opens with a tune called "Rolling," which
Yeah.
has a nice organ going through it. and you kind of sing about rolling with the punches, which I guess is kind of what everybody's doing these days.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that song?
You've got to roll with the punches. You've got to roll on a dime. You've got to roll. You're coming with me. Gotta roll out, gotta be on time.
That one is one that started with that guitar thing, that boom, 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 boom. And it had like a rolling quality to it. And I was like, oh, that'd be funny if I wrote a song called Rollin' that had like a rolling kind of feel. And then that's what ended up happening. So no particularly great story on that one, but it's one of my favorite songs to play on the record. It's a lot of fun.
And then the two that follow, The Real Thing and Vulnerable, both have music videos attached to them. So
yeah.
They look like they're kind of interesting and fun to shoot. Do you have much to say and much involvement in the visualization of your music?
You think resistance makes you seem so strong. You keep your distance, then wonder why we don't get along.
I'm not a huge video guy. I don't watch a lot of music videos, but it's kind of a necessary component of releasing, a record in this day and age. So we just found some people around Nashville that make music videos and like hit us with some ideas, and they all had really cool ideas, and we figured out how to get them done. I'm not much of an actor, but I made a go of it.
Well, the one especially Vulnerable, who's the woman who's the actress who's in the video?
I've actually never met her.
Oh, that's
because it was filmed during quarantine, and so like I went in and did a day of my studio part, and then she went in separately and did her day. So yeah.
It's crazy. And on the tune In Between, it sounds like there's some female vocals happening in the background. There's some harmonies.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Just below the rubber, just above the ground. Ain't it just like water? Take you where you're bound. Once you lost your traction before the crashing sound of machines. You're in between.
Yeah, that's Erin Ray. She's a singer-songwriter, also based here in Nashville. She actually, at the time that we recorded, she lived right next to my bass player, just like a half a mile that way. So when we were in the studio, Taylor, the bassist, was like, man, I really think Erin would sound good on this song. I was like, well, call her. She's probably, it's quarantine. I don't think anybody's busy.
Right. Yeah, everybody's home.
So yeah. So we got her in there and she just knocked it out of the park. I really love her voice. And she's also on In Your Eyes.
Ah. And on In Your Eyes, there's also a saxophone in there, it sounds like.
No, there's no saxophone on the record.
Okay, then I have misheard.
There's let's see, that one does have some like weird synthesizer stuff going on. It's kind of reedy sound. Yeah.
All right. One song I wanted to touch on was Passing Through, because there's like some kind of 50s style guitar and it's a nice Southern soul kind of vibe to that one.
Passing through.
Thanks. Yeah, that one was one that just started with that guitar lick. I played that guitar lick for 5 years at soundcheck, and eventually it was like, I guess this has to become a song now because I can't stop playing it. And yeah, that's an example of the lyrics just kind of coming all at once. I heard the first line came to my head. There's just no way around it, I'm sure. What's after that? And then it just kind of happened because I already had all the music pretty much done.
Right. And then the album closed out with a tune called Being Alone, which the little guitar intro in it reminded me of the Beatles. I think it was Don't Let Me Down or something like that.
You're in
Yeah, that's a great reference. Yeah, that one's fun. It's I'm playing a guitar that's tuned way down, so I think it's tuned to C. So the strings are all like, I put really thick strings on the guitar, and uh, it's kind of, it makes the strings really loose, when you tune it down that far. And so in order to get it to sound powerful, I had to use this fuzz pedal and stuff, but I was just barely touching the guitar. It was a lot of fun.
Uh-huh. Do you spend a lot of time with your guitar, especially locking down and all that?
Yeah, I've been playing scales for a year and a half straight, man. Since as soon as I grew up. Initially I played guitar more than I sang or wrote songs, and then eventually started writing songs and singing, and kind of got away from being a guitarist. But quarantine's been really great for my woodshedding.
Oh, good. Well, I think a lot of people are kind of going through some changes and kind of moving around and changing the way they work. Especially, I find a lot of people are also working from home, recording in their own homes, and so
yeah,
not necessarily realizing they have to go to studios as well. So this having been recorded last year, what have you been doing creatively since then?
I've got some new songs I'm working on, which is exciting. I've been doing some painting. I've been kayaking a lot. My wife and I got kayaks last year, and since I'm normally on the road during the summer, that's not something I get to do very often. But being home last summer, and now it's last week we went on our first kayak, so doing a lot of that.
Very cool. And no live shows?
We're planning on going out on tour in September and October here in the States. And I'm probably going to be doing a few solo shows in between now and then.
Right.
But in the fall we'll do full band rock and roll show.
I'm guessing you kind of missed the interaction, personal one-on-one with the fans when you're kind of stuck at home like this.
Yeah, it's I've been reckoning with the part of my psyche that needs strangers to clap for it.
Right.
I think it's been healthy, and but I'm also ready to go play shows and have somebody clap.
yeah. So when you do play shows and you have the band, is it pretty much the guys or the folks who are on the record, or do you have a separate band?
I think when we go out on tour, it'll be mostly the guys on the record, maybe one or two. They're all really good players, and they have other people asking them to go out on tour with them. So, but it'll be mostly the same people on the record.
Very cool. And all righty. Well, you ever been down to New Zealand?
I haven't. My sister, this sounds crazy, but my sister lives in Perth,
that's
which is a very long way away, but it's like still closer than I am. So
well, it's funny, I moved here from the States, obviously, for my accent, and I had people thinking there were actually, when we moved here, that there was actually a bridge between New Zealand and Australia, and
that would be a long ass bridge.
It would be. But then I had other people who thought I was moving to Scandinavia. So
that's amazing.
But no, that's just getting wintry here. So I think about the same temperature, autumn and everything. So yeah, you should come down, check it out. We're doing live music all the time here. So
you guys have it figured out. You just had it on lock from the get-go, it seemed like.
It's easier if you're a small island nation.
Yeah,
5
totally.
million people. So
yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, hopefully you'll get out on the road soon, and look forward to the next record. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Marty.
All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.